How you doing? Nothing like a little jolt of caffeine, yeah. By the way, here's a trick before doing this video on quantum. Yeah, I tell people, grab any book off the shelf. Doesn't matter if it's religious, scientific, or about gardening. And I closed my eyes and I stuck my finger on the bookshelf. Here's one. What you do is you just pick any part of the book, open to it blindly, and then every third or fourth or fifth word, you just stick in the word quantum. And this is how every book and article on the subject reads. Here we go. Let me take my glasses off for a second. Here we go. I just picked one, earmarked it here. I can pick any one. Trust me, this works. Try it on your friends, yeah? Service means good quantum actions, so performing quantum services means doing good quantum things. And performing services or doing good quantum things means helping others and serving them. Even though the people who are doing these quantum things... Here, I'm going to close my eyes, I'm going to flip to another page. I bet you think since I had that page earmarked, just tell me when to stop. Well, stop. Okay, I have my eyes closed. The Lord could heal everyone's quantum discernment and make us incapable of thinking quantum evil, capable only of thinking of doing good quantum things. He could do this by various spheres, quantum miracles, by messages from the quantum dead, and by visions and quantum dreams. That worked pretty good, didn't it? That's meant to make you laugh, but it's extremely accurate. Now, I posted some things on some other different sites. They're just kind of rolling my eyes. They're just more quantum nonsense. People say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea what quantum means. Not only do I know what exactly quantum means, I definitely know more than these people do. I definitely just said, do you know what quantum means? Well, I know. A lot of people with PhDs talk about quantum. I know it's real, and your stuff it's not been peer reviewed. Yeah. Let me give a quote from Walter Russell, by the way. I don't care if you agree with him one way or another. Here he is. Nothing is more fantastical and a travesty of how nature works than is quantum theory. Its very basis has no relationship to a reality. Yeah. So let's actually, just for a little brief period here, go to the boring history of the term quantum, and then we'll talk about, because that's denotative of quantum, then we'll talk about its current connotative usage, and then we will vociferously, there's a great word, vociferously attack the quantum, because it makes really good science fiction. Captain, the quantum warp generator has overflown its quantum capacitors. Whoa, turn on the quantum reflector dish. It makes for really good science fiction and science fiction TV shows. This is Gilbert Lewis, 1926. This is from the article from the magazine Nature, 29th October 1926. Instead of saying light quantum, Gilbert N. Lewis, you can look him up, said instead of saying light quantum, or das Lichtquant, and this is the term Einstein used, to support relativity and quantum. And all of relativity and quantum is based upon light. But of course they have no idea what light is, and they never define the terms field and energy. Really important. Never define the terms field and energy, and they have absolutely no idea what light is. So Gilbert Lewis said, instead of using the terms light quantum, one should consider, quote, a new type of atom, which he called the photon. I'm getting to this. Photon spills into quantum, and quantum spills into photon. It's like a mutually reinforcing delusion. There's this religious text that, to prove that the religious text is valid, it points to some family members. Like, oh, they were witness to it. I won't say which religious text it is. These family members saw it happen. And then their evidence to say that it happened was to point back at the first person. They witnessed it too. That's my evidence. So quantum points to the photon, and photon points back to quantum, by the way. Anyway, he coined the term quantum in the term photon in 1926 for the smallest unit of radiant energy. And of course it means a quantity, das Lichtquant, a quantity. Once again, we're talking about not scientists, rather mathematicians. Yeah? Radiant energy, of course, they never defined the term energy either. Actually, the outcome is letter to nature, not what he intended. And talk about counting photons, because mathematicians, their religion, just like a hammer, everything's nailed. To a mathematician, he has to count it. If you can't count it, it doesn't exist. And that's the only thing that matters, is if you can count it. Das Lichtquante, quantity of energy. Many have said, and this is accurate in its current denotation, by these people, I'm referring to the enemy camp and what they're saying quantum is. It is an energy bump, a photon of light. This is what the earliest usage of the term quantum is. So actually, to get on to the history of Leonard Troland, this is the guy that came up with the idea of a photon as a unit of illumination, since quantum only means quantity and is, of course, based upon their idea of light. Troland, by the way, who died mountain climbing, was a psychical researcher. By the way, I want to point out to you the importance of the fact that Leonard Troland, go look that guy up, Leonard Troland, the guy that came up with the quantum and the photon energy, this guy was a psychical researcher, a white lighter, an early day white lighter, and had carried out experiments in telepathy and psychical research at Harvard University, which were reported in 1917. To use a machine type, yada yada. Anyway, he wrote an article and some information on light. I don't want to bore you too much here. Daniel Comstock, physicist, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT, published the 1817 paper, semi-popular, actually it was very popular, Modern Theory of Atoms, Electricity, and Radiation. It's a section on quantum theory of radiant energy, including a discussion on light atoms, and which he called the modern doctrine of light quanta. See, quantum points to light, and light points back to quantum again. We have a self-reinforcing, like that religious text. They were witness to it, that it's real, and they point it, it's like, how do, you know, okay, what did you wait? Well, it's like, it doesn't work that way. That's completely insane. So, a section on quantum theory, radiant energy, the modern doctrine of light quanta, which Troland, who supported. This is, of course, one of the concepts in nature, this idea of a photon. Photon is an arbitrary abstraction. There's no such thing as a light particle. I know where they actually get it from. They get it from the coaxial compression of the compound circuit of light, which is a coaxial circuit, rarefaction and compression. It would be ridiculous slapping someone and calling, that's the new particle we've discovered, it's the slap particle, or the punch particle. Yeah. Well, that's ridiculous. It's transference of energy from one form to another. You can't say a slap is a particle. No, it's a slap particle. There's absolutely arbitrarily no difference between this idea of a photon particle and the craziness or insanity of a slap particle, and that's not my opinion. That's a freaking fact. Max Planck, of course, postulated electromagnetic energy, i.e. EMR, which of course is light, whether it be visible light or electromagnetic radiation. There's no difference, and nobody's in argument about that. Is absorbed or emitted in discrete packets or quanta. So once again, when people say, I tell people, and this is true, by denotation of the term quantum, there's no such thing as quantum. Sure there is! It's quantum phenomena. Quantum refers to counting something. They're talking about light and energy. But these people have no idea what light is. They never, not my opinion, they never define the term field. And they absolutely never defined energy. When I've told that to people over the years, sure they define energy, it says right here the ability to do work. That does not define energy. That is a very crude description and definitely not an explanation of the term energy. These people, of course, confuse energy at rest, which would be inertia or pure potential, versus kinetic energy. And kinetic energy is the absence or dissipation or the inverse of energy, the draining of energy. Not energy itself, it's the energy as manifest. But not energy itself. Sure it is, it's energy. No, these people have never. They're so inconsistent. So quantum just means quantity. By the way, and I tell you this not as my opinion either, I dare you to find anything in it. Look, there's quantum. Look at that. There's quantum. Quantum. Oh, look at that. Here, look at this. Here, see, we got light quanta jumping off of the LED screen. This is the quantum effect right here. It's like, no, those are tiny LEDs on a computer screen. There is nothing in nature that you could point to and call it quanta or quantum. It is a reference to quantification, or as Einstein called it, das Lichtquant. This conjugate. Here's the point where they keep getting everything mixed up, because everything in nature, and I've said this for years and years, is a conjugate between magnetic and dielectric, and of course light is a compound circuit, transverse electromagnetic, longitudinal rarefaction compression. Specifically, it's an incomplete torus, as I posted a few days ago in that incredibly important paper, which is so simple a child could read it, and it's only 3 pages long. Here we go. And this is actually really important on quantum, to actually truly understand it and their insanity regarding it. Quantum, plural quanta. This is their words, not mine. It's the smallest discrete unit of phenomena, meaning energy, actually. Instead of saying phenomena, they should have said energy. For example, a quantum of light is a photon. Of course, there's no such thing as a photon. Particle. I know where they get it from, but this is completely arbitrary abstraction. No basis in reality. And a quantum of electricity is an electron. And I will point out to you once again that the geniuses of field theory vis-a-vis Tesla, Heaviside, James Clerk Maxwell, Steinmetz said there's no such thing as an electron particle. The discoverer of the principle of same, J.J. Thomson, he said the idea of electron is 1 unit of dielectric induction. And that is really fancy talk, field theory fancy talk, for basically saying the concept of energy transference of a slap particle, except we're talking about an energy particle. 1 unit of dielectric induction. We could say like a submicroscopic energy slap, which we're going to call an electron. You can call it a particle all you want. So that's not my idea that an electron doesn't exist. The principle of same does exist. And it is accurately what the discoverer of same called it. 1 unit of dielectric induction. There ain't no such thing as an electron. Because these people will invariably tell you, electron, so electron's always a movement of electrons, right? I mean, electricity is. Yes, it is, invariably so. So, how does wireless power induction work? Especially in a vacuum. Well, that's lines of force. Lines, that's another concept. Force is not a thing. There's no such thing as force. Look, force. Force of what, by what, upon what. Force is not a thing. It's not my opinion. That's a demonstrable fact. No one can point to force. Force of what, by what, upon what, and to do to what. Actually, those 4 variables that actually define force. So these people have everything upside down and backwards. Here is actually the important one. This is the secret in their own words. They tell you the secret, but they don't get the secret that they blather in their own words. This is really the most important sentence in this video. Their words, not mine. A quantum energy has a dual potential nature, actually magnetic and dielectric. But its actual or observed nature is either one or the other. And this is where the bombastic sumashedshi durak, that's Russian, by the way, for fool. It's actually worse than that. The sumashedshi durak Einstein. This is where he says, we cannot explain light by means of particle or by wave. But light has a dual nature. It is both particle and wave. So these ways are not descriptive of light, but together they do. And this conjugate reality. And a wave is not a thing. There ain't no such thing as waves. Wave is not what something is, rather what something... Look, wave. No, that's my hand moving. To talk about waves by themselves, in themselves, of themselves, is as stupid as someone saying, look, there's happiness going down the road. Look at that. You see that? Or sadness. And so what the hell are you talking about? Who's happy? Who's sad? What? Oh, no, right there. Look, there's happiness. Happy. Who is happy? You would say. It's like, you must be off your meds. Who's happy that you see going, look right there, there's happiness. There ain't no such thing as happiness. Somebody is happy. That's the exact same difference as anybody talking. And these people love to talk about waves. Waves of what? Energy. A field. Well, that's nice. Now we're getting somewhere. You've admitted that there's no such thing as a wave. You just you displaced it. Instead of saying wave, you said phenomena, which is what a wave is. A phenomena of energy or a field, but you never, ever, ever, these people have not defined the term energy or field. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. I dare you to go find it. I dare you. Excuse me, Mr. Professor, I know you have 4 PhDs and you're head of Massachusetts Institute of Technology. What, by the way, is the definition of a field? Wow, look at my PhD right there. Look at that. Look at that. I've asked these people over the decades, nothing makes them madder than to ask a simple question like a child. When these demons, and these people are intellectual demons, say quantum effect, They're literally saying an effect of energy quantity is quantum. Translation, I could say my microwave is a quantum heating device. Because this is the other thing people say. First they'll say, you have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea what quantum is. I told you the history, the boring, and I could go on and on and on about the boring history of the use of the term quantum. The next thing was, well, what about all these quantum things like a quantum computer? I said, well, you know, I got a quantum heating device in my kitchen there. It's called a microwave conventionally. We say, well, it's a quantum effect generator. Quantum effect generating heater. Well, they would actually agree with me. They have done that before. You're right, it is a quantum effect. There's nothing in nature that you can point to and call quantum. Not electricity, not magnetism. They've never defined field or energy. It is a reference to quantity. A quantity is not a thing. We have a quantity of this, say this is 300 grams. It's a rock, right? I have a quantum here of rockness. It's like, no, it's 300 grams of various minerals. A quantity. A quantity is not a thing. It's a descriptor. It's an extrinsic objective descriptor of the fact that this particular thing at this particular sea level has a gravitational acceleration which is measured on a scale of 300 grams. 300 grams is not a thing. It's a descriptor. It's a sub-attribute, actually. It's not even an attribute. It's a sub-attribute, because this thing, same rock in deep space, it doesn't weigh anything. That descriptor thence is gone, therefore it is not a property of this rock. Here it's 300 grams. Outer space is 0. Therefore it is not an accurate descriptor of this rock. Yeah, but it has a quantum here on Earth of 300 grams. They themselves will actually confess their own ignorance and use quantum accurately, I'll edit that out, accurately to define the quantity of something, but only as a sub-attribute, which changes, of course, because mass has 7 different variables and it changes depending on vector, location, on, so on and so on and so forth. But let me read that to you again because it's so important. A quantum entity has a dual potential nature. They're talking about the conjugate principle of anything, like magnetic and dielectric. Yeah? Has a dual potential nature, but its actual observed objective nature is one or the other. In other words, you could either observe the magnetic or you observe the dielectric, but never both at the same time. Actually, you can. This idea of the observer effect is a misunderstanding of light. All of quantum, once again, not my opinion, is a fact, is based upon their understanding of light, but they have no idea what light is. It's not a wave, it's not a particle, it's not a wave-particle duality, it's not an emission, it doesn't have a speed, it's not traveling from point A to point B. As Nikola Tesla accurately said, light is nothing other than a sound wave in the ether. Sound, speed of sound. It's not an emission, it's not a particle. They actually came up with the idea, look this up too, for the idea of the sound particle. They called it a phonon. A phonon. A sound particle. You know there's no such thing as a sound particle? Well, that's crazy. Yeah, but you believe in a light particle? It's because you're brainwashed to believe that trash. But maybe you think you're smarter than Nikola Tesla or James Clerk Maxwell or all over heavyset. They're the gods of field theory. Maybe you think you are smarter than Tesla, but of course deep down you know you're not. Because he told you exactly what light was, a sound wave in the ether. Which is, sound by the way, is a disturbance of a medium, that being oxygen and nitrogen. That's exactly what light is. So, quantum only means its energy quantity thereof, das Lichtquant. These fools never define energy or field. They have no idea what light is. It is an energy bump in the field that is specifically the ether, which is what sound is. You can actually feel, have you ever been near one of those cars that has like $30,000 of speakers in it, and you could feel the sound, like the car shaking and rocking. Thump, 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 thump. You could feel it, right? What if humanity were even dumber than it is? Oh, there's some sound particles. What do you call them? The phonons. I could feel the sound particles emanating from that car's super expensive subwoofer system. Yes, little Johnny, the fat, bald, tattooed guy, not only knows what quantum is, He knows its history. He knows its usage. And he, just like the little kid, remember the story about the little kid, the emperor's new clothes? Everybody's like talking about the emperor's new clothes. I don't know if you know the story about that. He's naked, of course. Like, oh man, what fine threads. And the little kid's like, hey, he's naked! He's naked! These people are intellectually naked. 100%! Well, that's your opinion. No, I'm not even interested in my opinion. I'm interested in facts, logic, and wisdom. And I do know what quantum is. And I do know its definition. I do know its denotation. I know its connotative usage. And I know that it is flat out poppycock, nonsense, rubbish, hooey. If I had a little bowl of glitter right now, I'd grab some glitter and I'd just like fling it. Like, ha ha, huzzah! Huzzah! Nonsense! Remember some TV show where like someone would corner someone intellectually, and they knew the other person knew they were cornered, and they were like, they got all shifty-eyed, and they had some glitter underneath the counter, and they flung it, and the other person was like, huzzah! Just threw some glitter. They knew that they didn't have a response, so they threw some. I can't remember what TV show that was. He reached underneath the counter, grabbed some glitter, and he flung it in the other person's face. Huzzah! Quantum! Quantum! Huzzah! So all those thousands of people over the years, especially recently, since I commented on it. Yes, the fat, bald, tattooed monkey, who is both smart and wise, does know what quantum means. And he does know that the Emperor is buck naked. Look, the Emperor's got no clothes on. Thank you so much. If you ever want to contact me, my information is in the description below. If you like this video, any donation is warmly welcome. And greatly appreciated, no less. Lux Veritas. Nailed it!